Hey everybody, I'm Sean and welcome to Southern Audacity. If you are new here, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you may see a video that you enjoy watching. If you're a returning subscriber, I truly do appreciate you all hanging in there with me. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but today I am going to show you all how I embroidered onto this bath mat. Now, this is for our dog, Daisy, and it's not going to really be in the bathroom, but she likes to curl up on things. So I figure, oh, let me stitch up a mat for her and see how she likes it. So stay tuned and I will show you all how I do this. Alrighty, so this is the bath mat rug. It's a mat that I'm going to try to embroider. The measurements are 17 by 24. It's kind of thick, and honestly I did try to hoop it just in the hoop and that didn't work. So I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to see if I can float it, and that will take some finagling because it's a bulkier piece. So this is just classic. Is it classic? This is a tearaway stabilizer, and I'll have to look and see which one this is. I want to say it's number 15, but can't remember right now. Let's set that over here. And so, of course, I want to make sure that this is in the hoop. And I'm going to make sure I tighten those screws up on the that screw right there. And so this is going to be facing away from the machine, and therefore I want the rug to be on the hoop like this, so that this is away from the machine and not in the machine. So now I have this lined up on here. My next question is, how am I going to get this to stay in place? I could try to do it like I would normally do with anything else that I would float on the flatbed and pin it, but I'm going to try to use some double-sided tape. This is, I don't even have the back piece to it, but these are like perforated or pre-cut pieces of double-sided tape that I got from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to line these up on the edges of this stabilizer, and I'm just going to put it in a few points so that hopefully I can hold it in place. But of course I'm not going to put any of that tape in the middle part because I don't want the needles to be going through this thick old tape. And I'm going to put some on the edges. And this is just to temporarily try to get that rug to stay in place. Let's see. And I'll put one more on here after this. And I may still have to put some pins in it. I'm going to see in a second here. So, you know, I always want to make sure it's centered and you've got your markings on your hoop so that you can see where your center points are, those little arrows. So I'm going to try to keep this centered by just folding it in half and putting the center of the fold right there. And I'm going to just bring it over the hoop a little bit. And I think that's straight. And I'm going to just press this down onto the tape. Let's see. No, that's not going to be very strong. Well, maybe if I press at each point really good, it will be strong enough. Okay, so I do want to put some solvay on top of here, the water soluble stabilizer, just because I've honestly never stitched on this type of material before, so I don't know how it'll act, and I want to make sure that the threads don't sink too far into it. It's not very thick, but I figure better safe than sorry. So let me get that water soluble stabilizer. It's in one of these drawers. Sorry for the sound effects. I'll just sit that over there. Now I am going to use some of this painter's tape to just tape this on top to kind of drape it. Because the whole goal for the solvay is so that the so that the threads don't get sunk down into the material so bad. That's my point of putting it on. That's not just what solvay is for. Okay. I'll just put some on the side here, and I probably have a little bit more on here than I need to. I'm just hoping that this works. So now I have it floated on top of the hoop with some double-sided tape. I don't think I need to put needles in it, pins, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna put a couple of straight pins in it, or try to anyways, and see if that will help. Okay, so I've got the straight pin going in right here, and I'm going to do that at a couple of points just to be sure that this actually will stay in place. Trying to find where the hoop is at. Okay, and I put my hand up under here because I do guide the straight pin back into the fabric or the item. Sometimes I stick my finger. Let's see here. That's not going to work for me at that angle. Put it in up here. Okay, and now I have this one in at this corner right here, and so you can see it's going in here and it comes out here. It kind of ripped through the solvay, but that's okay. So I think that'll be okay. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna take it to the machine and I'll see you over there. Okay, so I am going to be using the Juki Tajima Sai 8 needle embroidery machine. I already have the design on my machine. I pulled it up from off of the flash drive and I flipped it so that it's stitching the right way. I am going to just be stitching this in all black. And what else? I guess I better put this on here and see if it will actually hoop. That's the next question. I don't think it's going to be too thick. Okay, and I'm going to slide it in. I want to make sure it locks in place. And this is the 8x12 hoop or 8x12 frame that I'm using. There isn't a bigger mighty hoop that will fit this big. So what I mean is this. I have an 8x9 mighty hoop, which will work for this machine. It works fine. There is a 8x13 mighty hoop, but it is too big for this machine because this machine only has a 12x8 or 8x12 stitch field. When I was talking to one of the Mighty Hoop reps, they explained to me that while I can use like a 3x9, I can't use the 8x13 because it'll bump. So this is I've got to use this particular frame for this project. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and see if this is lined up. We're gonna trace. I hope that is centered. Let's see here. Yeah, that is about centered, so we'll see. And let's see here. I think that's gonna, I need to push it down a little bit further. I'll see when it gets to the bottom. No, I think that'll be good. Huh. Okay. So let's see. Alrighty. We're within our field. We're gonna press start and see how it turns out. I'm just pausing for a second, just in case you're wondering why the machine sounds like that while it's stitching. These are longer satin stitches. So I should have told you before I set the design up, I should have showed you all that I had to go in the settings of my machine and change my jump stitches to 6 so that it wouldn't think that these big satin stitches are jump stitches. Normally the machine, I think the default was at 3, and thank you Mary for letting me know this. She let me know a while ago when I was asking in the Tajima Embroidery group why my satin stitches kept cutting like they were jump stitches. So I did go into the settings, I changed my jump stitch to 6 so that it does actually give me my satin stitches without thinking that these are jump stitches that need to be cut. So I'm going to go ahead and resume. And it does seem a little bit slower because the satin stitches are so long. And I only have my speed set at 700. So I'm going to just let this stitch and I will be checking back in. And now it's stitching at the A. And so far so good, haven't had any issues. Getting close to the finish line. Now we're at the bottom part where we're stitching the heart with the doggy paw. And this part is actually a fill stitch, so I'll see how it stitches out. Alrighty, so no, we are not going to stitch that again, and we are done. So I'm going to take this off of the machine so we could get a close-up of how it's really looking. Now remember when I told you all that I had to change the settings so that the jump stitches would be longer before they would cut? So since I changed those settings, these jump stitches did not cut, so I will have to go in and clip those because these jump stitches are less than 6. So that's not a big deal because it's a big enough design. Now a couple of things, you know, this is the first time I've stitched onto a rug or a mat like this. I do not like the satin stitch. If you see up close, the satin stitch, it doesn't close up really good, and I don't like that. Now this part of the design is a fill stitch, and I do like the fill stitch on it. So that tells me that I'm gonna have to find some fonts that will be a fill stitch that are bigger, and possibly even scale the size down so that the name isn't taken up, what is that, about 1/3 of this mat, something like that. But I'm gonna take it back to the table, get the stabilizer and everything off of it so we could get a full view of how it really looks. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna get this off of the hoop, take those 2 straight pins out, and Hopefully this doesn't come out too bad, but we're about to find out, right? And I don't think Daisy's gonna care. But for me, it was just the wanting to see if it could be done. So I should have clipped the jump stitches before I took the salvie off, because that would have just made it a little bit easier to ensure that I'm not cutting the actual fabric. But that's okay. I'll just go through and make these clippings now. And then these here little jump stitches down here, I've got to go through and clip. And let's see here. I think that's about it almost. Now I see a lot of people doing different pet items, and although I do like my dog, I'm not a petsy person, you know. I don't walk around with dog mama shirts on or anything like that. But because she actually we have these type of mats in our bathroom, right? So she would go in our shower, in our bathroom, in the mat in front of our shower. She would just want to lay on it. So I just figure I'll just go and get her a mat, because I'm not sharing a mat with a dog. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not that type of dog mama. I do good sharing the house with my human family. And because this is tearaway, it's just really peeling right up off of there. And I could pull this off of the back. And I think this looks good. I just have to find a different font. I think that'll be the biggest thing. A different font, something that's a fill stitch. So that will be my next mission, finding some fill stitch designs. Maybe Stitchtopia or somebody has them, because I've been practicing digitizing, and I did do this part, and it's a fill stitch, but it was a public domain clip art. You can find a lot of different designs out there that are public domain, so you don't have to worry about like infringement or anything. But this was like a practice for me in a few ways, a practice on seeing how this design would actually stitch, and the fill stitch does fine. But I don't like that satin stitch, and that is not my own design. That is I want to say that is the Bianca font from Designs by Juju. I can't get the whole designing a font down. That's just something I've not been able to figure out. But in time I'll get it. It's just really slow for me. I have so many other things to do. But now I'm going to try to clip this little string without clipping out a bunch of the rug. Okay, so this is it. Tell me what you think. Now that heart could have been thicker down at the bottom there, because the rug actually does hide it, but it is all in there. So let's see here, trying to get it so that you could get a good view of it. See, maybe I'll just have to take a picture. But tell me, do you think it should be scaled down to a smaller size, or does that seem like it's an okay size for this size rug? I'm going to try and get a better image of it in here. Okay, so here is, I'm hoping, a better view so you could kind of get a full feel for how this is looking on this. So I don't think it's too bad. I mean, there's enough of the mat. If I could zoom out, excuse the rest of my clutter, because I have a lot of it. But that's it. Tell me what you think. If you try it, let me know. Now, one thing I will try to do is do this same type of technique with a different font, because I've got to find a different font, and I'll do it on the flatbed, and that may be my next video, but it may be a month from now. Y'all know how I am. But thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will definitely respond. Thank you.